Welcome to Quilting on the Side, the podcast for quilters who are building a business while juggling real life.
I'm Tori from Hey Tori, a quilter, past pattern designer and teacher, and now a digital marketing coach for quilting entrepreneurs.
And I'm Andi from True Blue Quilts, long arm quilter, pattern designer, and quilting instructor.
Between the two of us, we've taught workshops, launched programs, joined summits, and stayed up way too late trying to finish one more quilt binding.
On this show, we're sharing what's worked and what hasn't in our interviews from incredible guests, everyone from quilting solo business owners to CEOs.
So if you're running a quilting or creative business or dreaming about starting one, you'll find real talk, honest strategies, and a whole lot of support here.
So grab your notebook, grab your pen, and let's dive into another episode of Quilting on the Side. Welcome to another episode of Quilting on the Side. We are so thrilled that you're joining us today. And Tori, I just want to take some time and kind of explain what's going on in our quilt business these days, because you've been putting out a lot of content about getting ready for H&H, and I thought it would be great to kind of explain to people what's going on, what you're actually doing there, because you've got a booth, so there's actual physical stuff you need to get ready for that booth, and I'm going to be attending, and so I need some physical things, brochures, sticker trading is a huge thing at shows. So I wanted to get into some of those aspects. So tell us about your booth prep.
No, I love it. We are, so one thing I wanted to do with getting ready for H&H, because it's consuming a lot of any free time that I have. So I'm like, okay, as a marketer, how can I both market and do all the things I need to do? So I figured I would share my thought process, share what I'm doing behind the scenes. And I hope that those listening kind of take that and do that too, because it's really interesting for your customers to see your thought process, what things you're going to be having, what things you'll have available at these booths, and you can kind of encourage more people to come to the shows, which the shows will love, because we don't only have just H&H coming up, right, Andy? We have like QuiltCon just ended, and we have, I think, AQS week, like the same time almost.
Yeah, because AQS has shows all around the country, and so every few weeks there's another AQS show.
And we're getting right into the spring market season, or about to start it. So there are a lot of chances to set up booths, tables, and displays for your products. So with this, specifically H&H, so this year they're offering a craft show beforehand, which is a business to consumer. And then now they're still doing their business to business show right after it. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to the business to business show. I have a 10 by 10 booth. And I have a table for sample. It's literally one table. So those are both things that I have to display my products on. So with Sample It, it's a lot simpler. It's one table, and all I have are my books, my notebooks, and my patterns. Like I mentioned before, like my pattern is the last chance to get a pattern. It might be the last chance to get a physical pattern from me if you actually want a pattern, or just to see what I've done before. Because I think I'm done with those for a while. But setting that up, I think the first thing that I really wanted to think about was what to display. So you don't necessarily want to bring everything or make everything a spotlight, right? Because I mean, Andi, you have a huge collection of patterns. If
Yeah.
like when we boothed at QuiltCon together, you're not looking to display every single one of those. You want to display your best sellers. That's what we're going for. Your best sellers, and the people that walk by are going to love your taste, your aesthetic, your best sellers. Then they're going to stop and look at maybe your rack of patterns and really see what else you have to offer, because they love what's on the wall. So with me, I don't have patterns with this show. I am a digital marketer. So I'm like, okay, how do I transfer what I do online, one-on-one or in small group coaching, onto a wall? How do I make it real life? So it started with conversations with my own ideal clients. It's like, what makes you stop at a booth? Or in my case, what would make you stop at a marketing booth to find out more information? And the answer I got over and over again was, if you could find a way to put my thoughts on the wall. And I'm like, Oh my gosh. Okay, what if we literally put words on the wall? And then I went even further and I thought bubbles.
That is so
So
awesome.
that's where I started was I was asking questions and it started with how do I get their thoughts on the wall?
And like you said, thought bubbles, and with all of the ingenious, marketing physical product stuff, I'm thinking that, having some thought bubble that you can hang in your booth that ties right into, I mean, how fun are all the booths that have, like, the oversized rotary cutters and needles and little prop things? So, I think that's a brilliant idea.
That's true. And you guys can do it with your products. Be like, the baby easy fast baby quilt, bestseller. You can literally put bestseller if you're going to business trade show. And that's what distributors, quilt shops, they're looking for what your customers are buying so
Mhm,
that they can see if their customers are going to want to buy it too. So having your bestsellers up front and visible and spotlighted is going to be the best way to go. So the next thing I thought of was I've got 2 programs. I've got Self-Publishing Incubator, which helps self-publishing authors write, publish, and market their book. And I have the Digital Marketing Magic coaching program. Now I do pretty much the same role in each program, but they're different. So I'm like,
mm,
how do I create a cohesive space where I can showcase both of these? And so what I'm thinking, and then I started thinking about it like a landing page.
mhm.
So, right, I go back to my digital marketing, like, website training, I guess, or at least in practice, and I'm like, "Okay, how do I get them from walking by to stopping to understanding the journey within the booth?" And that sounds a little I don't know if that sounds a little meta, not meta, but, like, a little intangible, but so I'm literally thinking of having and this isn't in quite in I'm done yet. This is still
Mhm.
in like the thought process planning stages. I've got a few of these pieces done and ready, but the whole cohesiveness of it isn't quite there yet. So I'm thinking we need to use height because when you're walking the show, one of the first things that I do as a person who walks the show the last 2 years is I look for generally the vibe.
Mhm.
I don't know what else we call it at this point, but the
Right?
vibe. Like, especially H&H, because H&H has yarn, it has, other fiber arts, thread, beads, and quilting. So I first look, is this quilting, right? Or is this, a business that I could potentially help or I could potentially market with? And I look from top down. So I look up to the sign. Who are they? Because maybe I already know them. Maybe they're timeless treasures. Like, I walk past their booth a lot. I don't know if they just had a great spot or I just got lost around them a lot, but I walk past their
Visibility.
yeah, so the actually Timeless Treasures booth became one of those where I'm like, "I'm at Timeless Treasures, the food is over there,
Yeah.
over there," because I kept getting lost in that spot. Anyway, so I look from top down, so I think approaching a booth design in that way can be helpful. Now, I had no training in this. There are people I'm finding out there are people who you can hire to actually design booths, and I'm like, "That's a job?" Like, of course that's a job because, like, you have corporate side of things where they design booths, so I have no background in this. I am coming at it from me.
Yeah, I can't believe I that you just triggered a memory because, um, eh, way back when I was in a career transition period, I actually worked for a year or so for a company that created trade show booths. Like, they had talk about random, but I was in a receptionist type position, but yeah, I got to walk around and talk to, everybody. We had a big warehouse of all their, pipe and drape and signage and all that kind of stuff. We had a print shop that would create their the big standing walls and stuff. So yeah,
Oh, that would
funny
be
how
amazing.
these little bits of your life all come together at different times.
It is. Oh, that's so interesting. Well, yeah. So with that, I'm thinking top down.
Mhm,
So if you're walking past, even if you are just attending a show, walk past them and look at what catches your attention. What is working for you as just a person who's walking by, and you can kind of emulate some of those elements. So like top down, I'm thinking sign, right?
mm,
So we got the big banner is what I'm thinking on top that says something like um something that illustrates the transformation that I'm trying to do, like growing your business
Mhm,
or, getting visibility, something along those lines. And then underneath it, having my name.
mhm.
So it's growing
Hey,
visibility.
Tori.
Tori. Oh, hey, Tori. Like, oh, so it's not hey, Tori first because most people will not recognize my name. And so I'm thinking transformation, my name, and then the two programs you can choose, kind of like a little roadmap. So it's like one is SPI. Are you thinking of publishing? We have a program for that. If not, I can help you with your marketing and having, I don't know if I want to literally draw a roadmap, but I'm kind of leaning that way, maybe with yarn, just having like a bright color of yarn just kind of threading through the curtain because I'm going to use curtains.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, that's smart, and that has stuck with me. I think you told me a few years ago as I was planning, maybe it was when we were planning, our QuiltCon booth in 2022, that having that height difference, even on a table that you were describing earlier, being able to have some things flat and then just go up because you don't have that much, floor space, so you need to utilize the 3rd dimension there as well.
Definitely. And like, I know we've touched on this a few times, but these boxes, the wooden crates that are behind me that you can get at like, oh, I was going to say Joann's, so I guess you can't get this at Joann's anymore. But I'm sure that other places have them, and we can, of course, always find them online. But
Mhm,
these wooden boxes, they create a nice aesthetic.
mhm.
They pack. You can put stuff in them, carry it into the show, and then use it as like a little bookshelf on a table, which is really nice. So it can help with height. Little things like this where you can reuse what you're already bringing in can be great. And you could throw a quilt over it. You can put project up against it. There's a lot of things you can do with these little crates over here.
Yep, yep.
And I'll bring
I
these to sample it. These are coming to sample it with me.
There you go. So beyond the physical space, we also have print materials are, definitely gonna be a investment that business owners want to have with them. And we've gone beyond just little business cards to, uh, postcards and trifold brochures and all that kind of stuff. What do you think is a good option for business owners to take to shows?
I'm looking at this from two ways. One, if you have a booth, what you want to think about is what are they taking with them when they leave? And even like the flow of traffic within a booth is also kind of important because if you have, 8 people walking in, like how are they going to move around? Are they going to run into each other trying to get these brochures? Are they
Mhm,
spread out like strategically? Like that is something to kind of keep in mind is where your customer is going to be drawn. Because if they're going straight to the bookshelf for SBI, so that's the other thing I have is a bookshelf that are going to display the books, right? Books SBI, a self-publishing incubator. That's what SPI stands for. Um, but if they're drawn in there and I have brochures on, across the booth, they're not going to take anything with them. So we want to make sure that we've got the traffic in mind. But so that's in the booth. But I would, as a business owner, and from someone who's been to H&H twice, this is going to be my third time, definitely have a business card or a postcard size that has who you are and what you do for the businesses on it. So I would even like I love the one that Lyric had last time. She is a Lyric Kennard, Montgomery Kennard is in charge or is the founder of the Academy for Virtual Teaching. And one thing she did was she made cards with a QR code to a freebie. And she puts on there like this is going to help you with your I believe it was captions for reels and real ideas. So you can have little short video ideas from this GPT that she created, so a chat bot that she created. And it was great because the card not only had her contact information, who she was, how to sign up for the Academy for Virtual Teaching, but it had something valuable attached to it. So if you can find a way to create that for your customers, maybe a QR code to your wholesale shop, if you're a pattern designer, if you are a long arm are looking to collaborate with other like designers and or maybe in other ways, you can have where contact you on it, like literal QR code, so they can just
mhm,
type in their information on a message. It can make it so much easier to contact you, but also gives them a reason to keep the card. Plus,
mhm.
if it's pretty, we want pretty cards. Like, make it stand out a little bit.
Yep, yep, and that I'm thinking beyond the show experience because we don't want to dump all this time, energy, money into something that is used once. We definitely wanna have a continuing effort, and those kind of, postcards and resources are things that can advertise for you beyond just a show. You can take them to your local quilt shop. You can, you know, use them to advertise with guilds with other quilters. One of the things I did years ago was I was teaching a foundation paper piecing class, and part of that technique is when you fold the paper, and it always helps to have a postcard or something to fold the paper over, and so I designed one that had one of my quilts on the front, my logo and the basic paper piecing steps on the back. And so I hand that out to my students and they think it's great. And then they have that reminder and that, simple, subtle advertising there as well. But yeah, a QR code on those things is going to be great. And, like you mentioned, several things, the catalog for pattern designers. Videos, obviously, I'm a big YouTuber, and so I could link out to one of my video tutorials, and that gives people a flavor of my style.
Yes, that's a great idea. The other thing I would have on hand is like a trifold, something that is bigger than what a little card can have, but showcases what you specialize in. So you may have 3 or 4 different things that you do, but what do you want to be known for at the show? So are you the go-to pattern designer for certain kinds of patterns? Are you the long armor, but you also have patterns on the side and you want to get in a distributor? There's different things that you can do there. Actually, you know what? Let me walk that back because actually, if you're a long armor who wants to get in a distributor because you have 4 patterns, you wanna focus on those 4 patterns because you're not there to sell long arming to a distributor. You're there to sell your patterns to the distributor. So I would focus on that. If you have another networking opportunity where you want to showcase your long arming, have 2 trifolds. Like, they're not too expensive. You can probably get, I my first show, I designed it in Canva, and actually, I have a blog post with a template in it, so I'll drop it below, so you can even grab the template from me if you really can't find one you like. Just use the one I've got. It's right there for you. You just drop your pictures in, ah, it will end your information, and you don't want to say the cool patch by Tori, but
Right.
but yeah, so you would want to showcase what you want to be known for from the people you're networking with. That's the focus of the trifold. And I would have it where the front, it's very branded, and it matches your card and it matches anything else that you want to hand out. So everything feels cohesive. It feels like this is the same person. That's what I would do. If you're just walking, there's a few more things I can suggest, but I want to pause there. What do you think, Andy? You have anything else to add?
Yeah, I think that is so brilliant. One question I would have for you, because you mentioned having 2 brochures, like for people that long arm and have patterns, they may cross into a couple areas. Do you I'm thinking you don't necessarily have to have 2 because you have so much real estate on a trifold, and maybe your long arming surfaces are like the inner page, so it's obviously a little bit lower priority, whereas your pattern stuff could be, front and back, the things that people are gonna see immediately, and
So what I would want to avoid is confusion.
Mhm.
Because you don't want, so because when you're talking to people at a show and even afterwards, they go home with a stack, like a box full of all of these things. And you don't want them to pick up your brochure, see long arming and be like, oh, we don't need her.
Mhm.
And even though you're trying to showcase patterns, if they see something else that they are not interested in, they may just toss it aside because they need to focus on the things they're really interested in. So that's the only reason I would say have 2 exclusive ones.
Good idea.
And the other thing you can do is, and this was a piece of advice I got from a friend who's a pattern designer who had me actually do this at a show, but to actually put together a packet for specific companies that you really want to partner with. So a sample of your best-selling patterns, or more information about what you do, and having it pretty, like, making it pretty, making it because you're handing it to a person. If a person feels like they're getting a gift, it's gonna stick in their mind better than if you're just handing a brochure and talking to them. And if you're not comfortable or you don't want to do like anything like that, if that's completely outside your comfort zone, just start with the brochure. And just doing that face to face is more valuable than just like leaving a brochure and walking away. Like talking to them a little bit. And when you're talking to them, I know this is kind of getting off our physical thing, but I just want to say not don't, but I would encourage you to ask questions, not just go with this is what I do and this is what I want. Ask questions of the people you want to work with. Who is your ideal customer? Are your customers interested in something that I do? This is what I do. And like what are your customers looking for? What is your company looking to do? Because if you're going forward to, let's say Brewer right now has been moving away from patterns. They're dropping some pattern designs. And I hesitate to say all of them, but it sounds like they're dropping patterns almost altogether. So you wouldn't want to approach Brewer right now and be like, "Hey, I'm looking to get a distributor for my patterns." You would want to walk up if you're not sure and be like, "I'm looking for the buyer for Brewer. I'd love to have a conversation about what your customers are looking for," and lead that way. That way, it achieves the goal that you want because you want to work with them, not just have them be an amplifier for you. You want to work in partnership with them to make things that sell well so you both get money.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's really eye-opening to, what you were saying about start a conversation. You obviously want to, um, approach it as a collaboration. So my immediate thought there, when because you mentioned fabric companies first, that, you can do mock-ups of your patterns with their fabric. I mean, talk about a win-win. That's, an easy thing to do. And yes, it may take some time to craft personalized items, but pitches are always stronger when they are personalized. We think of that when you write cover letters for job interviews, when you are reaching out to someone. We don't want just the generic, hey, I'm Andy of True Blue Quilts, and, let me design something for you. No, you want like, oh, you offer block of the month and I have this design and here's what it might look like in this line that you released last year. Do you have something similar coming up?
And imagine the impact that you would feel as someone came up to you and took the time to look into your company, to look at your fabric lines, to not only take the fabric lines that are available online that you can use and translate them into patterns. Like how how much would that stick in your brain? But this person put in the effort. So you know they're going to put in the effort moving forward. This is somebody who's serious about working with me because they went the extra mile. They went a little bit further than most of the people that they're going to be talking to. I think that's fabulous advice.
Yeah, I'm getting all sorts of ideas. I've got a lot of homework to do before H&H to really refine my offers and pitch. And that's the great thing about H&H is they have all of uh, their business vendors. You can see that, and so you can start planning. They really do encourage people to do their homework ahead of time to make this a valuable experience for both the vendors and the businesses that are attending.
They do. I think it helps. I was just listening. I re-listened before we record today. I re-listened to Crafted Careers interview, Elizabeth Chappell's interview with Darren. Um, Darren Stern, I think is his last name. I always forget names, so I'm trying to be better about it. I believe his name is Darren Stern. He's like pretty much the head of H&H at this point. Um, he was talking about how they're really focused on making it a social place, like a place where people really can have discussions, and they have the after dark stuff or after H&H stuff where it's like a party down there, where they really try to create an environment where you can build these personalized relationships and help grow your business. And oh, don't forget about stickers, Andy. We
Oh,
love stickers at these events, like even in business trade shows and regular quilt shows. Like
everybody loves stickers. You put them on your water bottle, you put them on your sewing machine. It's everywhere. So I
exactly, marketing.
yeah. Um, so do you see stickers more as just that marketing effort that it's something that helps people remember you, or what are the benefits of stickers?
Well, for me, okay, so one, they're fun, first off, like going and trading with other adults, like stickers with other adults, it just feels like we're back in grade school. Like, look what I made. And they're like, oh, look what I made. And we just like trade and we have a giggle. And it's so much, that part of it is just really fun. And it
And
breaks the
it's
ice.
exactly, that's what I was gonna say. For people that are a little bit introverted and are like, "Oh, how am I gonna do this?" That's your automatic conversation starter. "Hey, I've got a sticker, you wanna trade?" Or even just gift someone with a sticker.
Yeah, when I was feeling extremely like introverted on one of these days, I would just hold my stickers. And then as I walk around, I say, like, try to like I'm s like, I don't wanna say I'm bad at this because sometimes I'm actually pretty good at it, but it's like trying to hit up conversations with people is kind of awkward, so it's like, I'm holding stickers, "Oh my gosh, look, I have a sticker, do you wanna trade?" Like, and you're yeah, so exactly, it's great for kicking off the conversation, but one thing that I have found and this took a few years, this is something I think I'm reflecting in, like, right this moment, but you know, the practice of seeing something several times before you trust it. I feel like stickers help. Especially if it's a logo or has your logo on it where they can identify you with that logo and they see it over and over and over again. Like the Quilter on Fire sticker, Brandy that we had an interview with, or like a mutual like panel. That was really fun. But she has a queue that's literally on fire and it's really like instantly you know it's Brandy, like the Quilter on Fire. Mine is a star that goes with my book and now my business. I'm kind of bringing it in. So I'm hoping that I get there eventually where you see this particular Ohio star in its colorway and you think that's Tori. Like that's what I'm hoping to get to. But there are certain stickers that now that it's been years, they're using a very similar style or the same logo, maybe a little bit refreshed, but it's been repeated so many times that it helps with your branding, it helps with your marketing. When people see it, they're like, I know who that is.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, and I'm thinking of, um, even beyond a logo, or, because you can put so many different quilt block ideas, maybe with a catchphrase.
Yeah.
So, I have my little bit different is what I named my half rectangle triangle series, so I can incorporate that phrase. Um, Along with that idea of half rectangle triangles, I always think of stretching blocks. So I can use something with that idea of stretch on a sticker, maybe with one of the block designs. And
Love that.
yeah, and then hopefully, obviously I'll use blue on all of it so people remember True Blue quilts.
Like, I could see your half rectangle almost said square again, half rectangle triangles and, like, just the one unit and have it say stretch and words that look like they're stretching, you say stretch it
Mhm,
with and then you can put a little bit different
mm,
Andy, like, in small, small, but I feel like that would be really fun. Like, you were just
yeah,
like we're on video right now, we're both, like, stretching our hands like
exactly.
we've got slime or putty or
Yeah,
that would be really fun. I
and,
think it
uh
all works together, when you have this idea of the booth plus the brochure plus the and even if you don't have a booth, having the sticker plus the brochure and a strategic plan of who you want to talk to, these shows can be absolutely amazing for growing your business, and you only have to go once a year. Well, now you can go twice a year. They're offering the fall one in Houston, which will be interesting to see how that one goes. But yeah, it's a great thing to do is go to shows and showcase your stuff. Oh, and one thing I wanted to talk about before we go
Mhm,
that I think is really handy for anybody doing a show inside is lighting. So
mm,
even if you're no matter what booth you have, using light strategically can be awesome. Many times when you go to a convention center, it's kind of dark, kind of like a basement. You have light, but it's not like
mhm,
it's not bright light, which is nice when you're walking around all day. You don't want to be under bright light, but it also helps you put up spotlights. So if you have like I'm imagining like Moda's booth at this point. Moda had all of their quilts, like their best sellers, up along. And they had like I don't know 2 or 3 booths. Like it was huge, but it was almost like a gallery of their best selling quilts, and each one had a spotlight.
mhm.
So the whole thing wasn't lit up. The lights were strategically placed to highlight their best stuff. And then I've used light so far in my design practice prepare preparing over here. I put light on the bookshelf. So every shelf lights up so you can really spotlight the books. And then I'm getting clamp lights for a couple other things. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a resource page for all of these items because you have what are they, like, sticker LEDs that you're putting on the top
They
part
are,
of the
so
table?
they're magnets, so I can
Oh,
take
okay.
them off to charge them, so I don't worry about batteries. I can charge them the night before, stick them on, and then when we get there, turn them all on.
Yeah, yeah, that's great, and I'm thinking back to my, YouTube experience, and they make lights that you can rotate colors, so, and I'm thinking, put those behind something because they can be really, really bright, and you don't wanna, blind people if you have those out, but you can put them on the floor or behind some of the crates that you use, and then they just project this nice glow in whatever branding color you wanna use.
Oh, that would be fun. I love that idea.
So,
I think
hopefully we've given people lots of ideas for their marketing efforts when they are in person, like you said, whether you're at a craft show and need a booth, or if you are a, designer or some other aspect of the quilting industry where you're handing out brochures. We'd love to hear your thoughts and your reflections on these ideas.
and come visit me at H&H and let me know what you think of my booth, because I would love to hear your feedback, or because like Andy said, I'm sharing it online, so if you see me asking your opinion online, I'm actually asking your opinion, because this is the first time I've ever done digital marketing in a booth, so it's been interesting.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
That's a wrap on today's conversation. We hope it gave you something real to take back to your business.
And if you liked this episode, please hit subscribe and leave us a review. It helps more quilters find the show and feel a little less alone on their entrepreneurial journey.
And if you want more support, from behind the scenes content to live chats, you'll find more in our Quilting on the Side community on Patreon. And as always, don't forget to do
A little
quilting
quilting on the
the
side.
side.